Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Manojava Marutatuल्य Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayuta Mukhyam Shri Ramadutam Shirasa Namami Kujantam Rama Rameti Madhuram Madhuraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakham Vande Valmiki Kokilam Apadam Apahartaram Dataram Sarvasampadam Lokabhiramam Shri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham Dakshine Lakshmano Yasya Vame Cha Janakatmaja Purato Marutir Yasya Tam Vande Raghunandanam. We're continuing through Kishkindha Kanda. We are at chapter 48. The three quarters of monkeys, or monkeys of the three quarters, east, north, and west, have come back to Kishkindha with the news that they haven't found Sita Devi. So all hopes are on the monkeys in the southern quarter. Then Hanumanji, along with his troops, although led by Angada, the chapter begins with Hanuman along with all the other monkeys that are there with Angada and Tara. So there are two different monkeys. One is Tara, another is Tara. Like in America, we have two Daniels. One is Daniel, the other is Danielle. E-L-L-E is for a girl, D-A-N-I-E-L is for a boy. So here also Tara is a male and Tara is Sugriva's wife. So they've been going in the southern direction. And these very, very powerful monkeys went to the Vindhya mountains, searched the caves, the forests, mountaintops, the very difficult, impassable places, rivers, lakes, inside the hollows of trees, went from one mountain to another, one hill to another, from one forest to another, searched every tree, and everything that they searched, but they were not able to find Sita Devi. The whole day they would be searching and searching. Obviously, searching is a very tiresome process. And they would just lie down at night on a tree branch or under a tree, eat whatever fruits and berries that were available. And then the next morning they conducted their search. But that southern province turned out to be very, very difficult, because unlike the other three quarters, somehow in the southern province, although it was very deeply forested, very, very deep caves, there was not much water. Even now in southern parts of India, water is a big issue. And this place didn't have as much population, did not have as much water. And somehow the whole look of the place was not so, I guess, organized, or it looked ghastly, they say. Yet, being tormented by their fatigue, being tormented by the anxiety of not finding Sita, they went from one place to another, same kind of combing search, but they found even more waterless and very scantily populated villages and towns and areas. And as each forest that they left and went to the next, their fear or anxiety started growing that they're not able to find Sita. So they were wondering where she could be. They went to places where there were not as many, or actually any buffaloes, elephants, birds, tigers. These are not good indications if there are not enough animals. They wondered what might be the case, and whether or not it was a safe place at all, because where animals are there generally is considered fertile, and where people and animals would gather. And if it is not the case, then they wonder if it's Rakshasas there. Has Sita been not only kidnapped but killed or perhaps eaten away by any Rakshasa? And then they couldn't find any useful trees, herbal plants. They didn't find too many creepers. A good indicator of a place that's fertile apparently is a pond with many lotuses. They didn't find any of that. They couldn't find any soft leaves to lie down on. There was not enough flora, flowers or fragrance. And so they went from one province to another, and with each successive province, the topography became more and more treacherous. Then they came to a place where there lived a sage by the name Kandu. And this Kandu sage was actually very, very intensely practicing his tapasya. He was very self-disciplined, very strict. And one of the things we have noticed is a person who's such a tapasvi, when their tapasya gets disturbed or broken, then the first affect that appears is anger. So this sage is one of those very disciplined, very intense personality, but with a very short fuse. And so what happened is, at one point, this entire region was very verdant, full of animals, birds, flowers, ponds, lilies, lotuses. So this sage's 10-year-old son died. Now, it doesn't give exactly what happened, but this boy died in that forest. So the sage became very, very angry. And he cursed the entire forest to become uninhabitable and impenetrable, and such that all the animals and birds would abandon it. He became angry at the forest. Now, if you ask me why he became angry at the forest, the answer, I don't know. It's just that he became angry at the forest. The nature of anger, as we hear in Bhagavad Gita, has no rationality. We can be angry at one person or one thing, but that anger permeates into saying harsh things or doing harsh things to people that we love, or people that are friends, because we have to let loose somewhere. It's the proverbial kicking the dog phenomenon, that a man who has a very hard day at work, he can't say anything to anybody there, but he comes home and he kicks his dog. So in English, there's this phrase, the kicking of the dog. Means you're hurting an innocent bystander who has actually no role to play in the whole issue. So he got angry at the forest. And that's how they understood that this became very completely abandoned. And so yet these monkeys very conscientiously tried to search through as much as they could, the mountains, the caves, forests, rivers, like I said, every tree, the hollows of trees. They could not find out where Janaki was. They could not find out where Ravana was. And they were becoming dejected. Then they entered a very fearsome forest. As if the others were not, this one was especially fearsome. They found that when they entered this forest, there was very thick trees and a lot of creepers around those trees. And suddenly they found a very horrible looking demon. And the demon seemed as if he's not even afraid of the demigods. When they saw this massive demon with ghastly appearance, they suddenly got caught by surprise. And in order to defend against this demon, the monkeys tightened their waistcloths. As you've seen, even when Krishna and Balram have to fight any demon, Krishna tightens his waistcloth. Here the monkeys also tightened their waistcloth, became ready. So this demon started running towards the monkeys, saying, "Ha ha ha! You're all going to die in my hands." And he clenched his fist and ran towards the monkeys. Angada, obviously, he's the leader of the party, so he came in front and said, "I will face off with this demon. And by the way, this demon is Ravana. Finally, we found Ravana." And then Angada jumped high and punched the demon on his throat very hard. And the demon started vomiting blood and fell on the ground like a massive mountaintop. And then when the demon died, they realized, hey, this is not Ravana. This is just an ordinary demon. I thought this was Ravana. So we continue searching for Sita and Ravana. And so they started moving along. Finally, they came to a place where they were now almost dejected that they're unable to find Sita. So they all sat down and were discussing, what do we do? The time that Sugriva had given us, 1 month, is over. And if we don't return, Sugriva will kill us. So when they were sitting and thinking what to do, Angada, because he's the leader of the group, gives his team a little speech. He says, we have come all the way down here, searching for Sita Devi for a very, very long time. The time limit Sugriva has given us has ended. And we all know Sugriva is a very strict king. If we don't return, he will kill us. So let's not lose hope. Let's continue. And then he tries to give a motivational speech to his team. He says, let's give up. Let's not succumb to sluggishness, to become lazy or thinking, what's the point? Let's also not lose hope by becoming sorrowful. Let's not fall asleep. Fall asleep in the sense, give up and say, well, I'd rather just rest because I'm not finding Sita Devi. And he says, these lethargies seem to have come upon all of us. Actually, he says, all of you. Let's put our best efforts in searching for Janaki. And then he gives a very nice lesson for what is required to achieve the success of one's activities. And he says, Anirvedam cha daksham cha manasaha cha aparajayam karya siddhim karani ahuhu tasmadetad bravimi aham. I'm letting you know, or I'm telling you, that these these three things are required for karya siddhi, for our efforts to be successful. Now, in this case, there isn't the grace of the Supreme Lord. And that is because he's talking about what is required from one side. For example, in Nectar of Instruction, we hear Utsahan Nishchaya Dhairyat. Rupa Goswami says, Tattat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyaga Satovrite Shadbhir Bhaktir Prasiddhyati. There also, he doesn't necessarily say grace as an effort, as an item, because it's given. It's understood that without the grace of the Lord, nothing will happen. But from our side, efforts are required, because bhakti is an active process. It's not a passive process where we sit and things happen. So that's one reason. Second, here they're on a particular mission. They cannot just sit in one place and say, oh, Sita, where is Sita Devi? And suddenly she will appear. Our effort is required. As practicing, as sadhakas, just as Rupa Goswami gives us Utsahan Nishchaya Dhairyat, here through Angada we are hearing Anirvedam, Daksham, Manasahacha Aparajayam. So these three things are required. He says these are the instruments or requirements for Karya Siddhim. So first is Anirvedam, that perseverance. Literally it means nirvedam, without any sense of knowledge, meaning not knowing or not trying to find a solution. Nirvedam. Anirvedam means trying to find solutions, researching, getting knowledge that will help us. In another way, it means being relentless, being persevering, continued perseverance. Then he says Daksham. Daksham, we all know, means expertise. As soon as we hear the word expertise, one might say, oh, I'm not an expert. That is why I'm a student. Here, Daksham means being creative, finding creative strategies, finding creative ways in which we can address what hurdles we might have. And then he says, Manasa cha aparajayam. Aparajayam is parajaya means defeat. Aparajaya means not being defeated. So not being defeated in the mind. Being defeated out on the field of action comes later, but a person loses hope when in their mind they give up the required effort. This is called defeatist. When a person says, bhakti is not for me. This is too much for me. I don't think this is for me. Those are called defeatist attitude. Manasahacha, in this case, aparajayam, that one should not become a defeatist. Internally, one should carry, as Rupa Goswami says, hope against hope. It's a very beautiful verse. I'll say it again. Anirvedam cha daksham cha manasah cha aparajayam karya siddhim karani ahu tasmadeta bravimi aham. Ahu means it is said, so he's speaking a well-known aphorism, that these three things are required for the success of one's efforts. And then he says, even now, one second. Even now, I lost my page. Okay, and he says, even now we have not lost hope. Although time is over, we haven't found Sita Devi, but let's not give up our efforts. Let's continue searching. This is not directly, but I'm extrapolating a little bit, that in the process of bhakti, not giving up is a very essential requirement. As difficult as our problems might be, as formidable as our problems might be, it may slow us down, it may temporarily stop us, but internally, we must be relentless. And that comes from a good association. On our own, we may not have that strength, we may not have the perseverance, but the association of persons who have gives us great hope. Here, they're searching for Sita. So I'm going to draw an extra parallel. This in the Ramayana, searching for Sita Devi is parallel to our searching for self-realization, because Sita is the jiva trapped somewhere in Lanka, which is the material body, as they say, and it's an island in the middle of the ocean. That's the ocean of material existence. And these are personalities who are making an effort to search for Sita Devi. Of course, Hanumanji is likened to a Madhyama Adhikari or Uttam Adhikari who's helping others find their soul. But in this case, when we think of Angada and all that, we think as sadhakas, when we are trying to become self-realized, finding or becoming self-realized is quite a bit of effort. It takes grit to be consistent, to be dedicated, to keep our determination up and going. It's not easy sometimes. And yet, Rupa Goswami gives us 6 things that will help foster that pursuit. Of course, he gives us a lot more, but the 6th, as we are more familiar with. So Angada is saying, let's not lose hope. He says, Avashyam kurvatam drushyate karnam karmanah phalam param nirvedam agamya nahinah malinah kshamam. That the fruit of our pursuit, phalam karmanah drushyate, we will surely see the fruit of our labor when we undertake our activity very sincerely. But closing our eyes or losing sight of the ultimate goal because of dejection is not going to help. Having come this far, so the point is, after so many lifetimes, somehow the spark of inspiration to progress on the path of bhakti has been lit. And we may think, I have not made any progress. I am not making any progress. Sometimes the malady is look at others. Oh, that one came to bhakti 10 years after I came. Look at them, they are so far ahead. Oh, this one just came 6 months ago, already so much ahead doing this. Look at me, I am so terrible. I have no hope. So here Angada is saying, Avashyam kurvatam drushyate karmana phalam. It will come. Just stay on the path, because the force of bhakti and the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master, the line of disciplic succession will pull us forward. All we need to do is hold on to that rope with hope. And that's what's going to pull us. Our work is to keep on holding on the rope so we are pulled out from this blind well. That's our effort. Everything else comes by the strength of the disciplic succession to pull us out. That's called grace. But sometimes we lose hope or sight or vision of whether or not we should even hold the rope. There's a beautiful story in the Panchatantra, and that story is applicable in different circumstances and contexts. So this is one context. There was a tortoise, a turtle, that would come to the shore of the ocean every day. And he wondered what lies on the other side. And he wanted to go, but it was too difficult for him to go. So he asked 2 large birds who often fly across and told them, can you please take me there? Can you please take me there? I want to see this place. I want to see that place. And they said, all right, here's what we're going to do. We are going to carry a stick in our beaks. This bird will carry one end, I will carry the other end. and you hold on to that stick with your mouth, like hold on to it. And as we fly, you fly along, right? But there's only one warning: don't open your mouth. Although the other context is that the tortoise was a very talkative fellow, and the story is that sometimes too much talk, vacho vegam, actually creates um, our own defeat. But that's that context. In this context, as the birds were flying, he looks down. He looks down at how beautiful the ocean looks, and he says, "Wow!" And that's it. Falls down. So here the perseverance is to keep holding on to that stick as the turtle was supposed to do, so the birds could fly him over. And then he says, Angada says, Sugriva is a very angry, ruthless king. Ruthless not in the term of heartless, but ruthless means he's very strict and exacting. Sugriva Krodhano Raja Tikshna Danda Chavanara. Tikshna Danda, his punishment is very, very intense. Bhetavyam tasya satatam ramasya mahatmana. And we don't want bhetavyam. We are scared. We're scared of Sugriva, and we're also scared of Ramachandra. But the fear is of two different natures. They're afraid of Sugriva for his harshness. They're afraid of Ramachandra for disappointing him. Not the same. Two different personalities. And he says, I'm saying all this for your benefit because I know what Sugriva will do to all of us. So let's not lose hope and let's continue searching for Sita Devi. When Angada's speech got over, Gandhamadana, this big, massive monkey, he got all excited. And although he was very thirsty, extremely tired, he said, what Angada said is correct. It is not only inspiring, but also very practical. So let's do what Angada has said. Let's again search all the mountains, caves, forests, rivers, river banks, river beds, as much as we can. Let's continue. Let's not lose hope. So what if these mountains and the forests are very difficult to search? This is the order of Sugriva. Let's do it. Then again, all the monkeys got up, energized themselves and said, let's start all over again from the Vindhya mountains. So they restarted from where they had started and searched this very formidable Vindhya mountain range. Again, they searched every mountain top, every little corner, nook and cranny of the forest, and yet they could not find Sita Devi. Now, as they were climbing down from a mountain, they were so tired, they had no energy anymore. They all sat at the base of a tree and just took a moment's break from their very hard labor. Again, they got up and started searching and searching and searching. And yet, Sita was not to be found. As they searched the entire Vindhya mountain range, Hanuman himself searched the special caves and found that there were lions and tigers and very fast flowing cascades of small brooklets or streams. He searched top, bottom, on the side, everywhere. And yet, Hanuman, even the son of wind god, could not find Sita Devi. Then, as they were searching through, it's not like their search party had dispersed everywhere and that they could not find themselves. The way they searched is they were close to each other, not far from each other, so they could see each other, and yet they were moving as one massive group. This group had the great, mighty monkeys as Gaja, Gavaksha, Gavaya, Sharabha, Gandhamadana, Mainda, Dvivida, Hanuman, Jambavan, and of course Angada and Tara. They searched and searched and searched, and they came to a particular cave called the Riksha cave. Although I'm using the term cave, it's a cavity in the ground. And it's called Riksha. It was created by the demon Maya. Now they were very thirsty, fatigued. And so when one is tired, it's not hunger that's the problem, it's thirst. So they wanted some water, but they were scared. If we go into this cavity, we don't know where it will lead. Some of them thought, hey, maybe we have reached Yamaraja's abode. Another thought, oh, maybe this is Bali Maharaja's Sutala planet, we've reached there. So they were wondering if we should go, is there some water there or not? And at that time, these wonderful birds called Krauncha, Sarasa, Chakravaka, all of them were flying out of this cavity. And their bodies were wet and their beaks were colored by the pollen of great flowers or lotuses. So that told them, oh, it sounds like a very amazing cave. There's water in that. So they were suspicious. Should we go or should we not go? Are we walking into some major issue here? And yet they said, well, we're very thirsty. We need some water, so let's go. Although the cavity itself is very scary. So Hanumanji, who was shining like the peak of a mountain, told all the Vanaras, listen, we have searched everywhere, okay? And we haven't found Sita Devi, and everyone is fatigued. We all need some water. But when we look at the birds coming out of this cavity, they're all drenched in water. So that means that there is a pond, a fresh water lake or something down here. So let's go get some water. Although it is very pitch dark, let's go. And somehow we'll get some water, we'll get some energy, and we'll continue our search. So they all, because it was dark, even if their eyes opened, they couldn't find anything. So they had to close their eyes. They held each other's hands so that they don't lose each other. And as one chain, they started slowly navigating the darkness. As they went down the deep pit, they came to a place where suddenly there was light. The whole place was luminous. They went almost a yojana distance, so that's about 8 miles down. And when they saw this luminous, beautiful place, they didn't know whether they should be delighted or scared. Yet there was hope, because what they're seeing around them is something very, very beautiful. But they're suspicious because the whole place was illuminated as if a massive ritual fire illuminates its surroundings. There were sala, tala, tamala trees, wonderful, wonderful list of flowers, naga, champaka, karnikara, all these flowering trees full of flowers, fragrances, birds chirping away. Each tree was golden in color, and it was as if the sun was shining inside the cave. The trees were all made with gems and gold, and each lotus in the ponds were golden lotuses with very, very big, broad petals, as if the early morning sun that shines, that's how each lotus was effulgent and illuminating. So they were completely shocked. They looked inside the pond and they saw massive, big lotuses and golden fish swimming. And they saw all around, there were mansions made of gold and silver. Some were golden, some had silver domes. Some had multi-story palaces, and each palace was studded with gems. And the lace work was made with pearls. So everything was so fantastic. They found corals, red rubies, uh, places full of honeybees, as well as thick honey everywhere. Stocks of gold, vessels made of gold and silver. Uh, they just got so shocked. Then they saw beautiful clothing, nice silk, very fine deer skin, excellent blankets, just gold piled here and there. Uh, so the monkeys were like, wow. And far in the middle of all of this opulence sat a woman wearing nothing but simple tree bark or jute cloth, who they could say was very controlled in her diet, which means she was very lanky. That means she was not eating much at all. And she was like a wonderful fire surrounded by brightness, which means her tapasya was very intense. So the monkey just stood in amazement, and Hanuman approached her and asked her, "Who are you? And what is this cavity, this cave that we are? There is so much opulence here." So what they're not able to fully fathom is, how is this woman sitting in such uh, simple clothing, not eating and not enjoying all the wonderful facilities around her, but sitting like a sage in the middle of all of this opulence. So he says, "Please speak, please tell us, who are you?" And before she could answer, Hanuman very reverentially and respectfully saw that she was wearing, she looked very saintly, was wearing black deerskin garments. And he told her, "We're very thirsty, we're very hungry, we're very tired. And suddenly we saw this cavity and we entered. And when we see what is around us, we are amazed. The trees are made of gold, and everything is shining as if the rising sun is when the sun is about to rise. The effulgence is not harsh; it's very soothing, but is very effulgent." It says this place is full of fruits and roots and tubers. The cars and airplanes are all made of gold. The mansions are all made with silver. I mean, this place is just fantastic. So, can you please tell us uh, how this came about? And we noticed that you are sitting in tapasya in the middle of all of this, as if you are all oblivious, as if you are completely oblivious of the opulence around here. So please tell us something about you and this place. Then this lady uh, responded to Hanumanji, and she said that there was this very, very amazing Danava by the name Maya. He was so expert and skilled as an architect and a construction person. Once, at one point, Maya was the Vishwakarma, and he had obtained a boon from Lord Brahma to become the Vishwakarma for a particular period of time, which means he was the excellent architect by whose divine powers he could create fascinating things and structures. And this Maya resided in this great forest for a very, very long time. All his wishes were fulfilled. Then once Indra and Maya had a great fight. Actually, Maya uh, was enjoying in this place with a heavenly damsel called Hema. So actually, Hema was sent by Indra to disturb Maya, but they fell in love and they lived together. So Indra and Maya had a big fight, and Indra's thunderbolt killed Maya. So then, after Maya died, Lord Brahma gifted this entire opulence, this great forest full of all this, what you see, to the Apsara named Hema and said, you keep this. But Hema, she wanted to return to Brahmaloka. So she is a very dear friend of mine. My name is Swayam Prabha. I am the daughter of Meru Savarani. And Hema gifted this to me and said, you take care of this place. I don't need it. And she went back to Brahmaloka. This Hema was an excellent dancer, artist who is usually there in Indraloka and Brahmaloka for Lord Brahma's and Indra's entertainment. So she left. And since then, I have been taking care of this place. And she says, tell me, how did you, all of you Vanaras, happen to come here? And while you're here, please enjoy all the fruits, roots, and tubers. There's great drinks here, fresh, clean waters, juices from all these fruits that are available. And please tell me, what is your mission? Why are you here? So the Vanaras explain. Please, so Hanumanji now narrates the entire episode of how they got here. So if you'll notice, in the Ramayana, of course, Valmiki Rishi is narrating it to us. But all the other characters hear Ramayana from Hanumanji. And their life becomes completely successful because of him. Of course, there's an episode where he narrates the Ramayana to Sita Devi, who's about to commit suicide. So we'll when we come to Sundarakanda, we'll discuss that. But it is Hanumanji who spoke to Swayam Prabha. Hanuman spoke to Vibhishana, to Sita Devi. Back when Bharata was thinking of ending his life, Hanumanji spoke to Bharata. The Hanuman and his troop will speak to Sampati, who's going to come up soon. So it is Hanumanji's narration of Ramayana that gives life to anyone and everyone who is feeling dejected and a sense of loss. So then Hanumanji tells Swayamprabha that Ramachandra, the son of Dasharatha, along with his brother Lakshmana and wife Sita, were living in the forest for 14 years. 13 years have passed. Ravana kidnapped Vaidehi from Janasthana. And Ramachandra made friendship with this great Vanara known as Sugriva. And because of that friendship, they're helping each other. And Sugriva has mobilized all of us with Angada as our leader. And we are in this area of Agastya Muni searching for Sita Devi. And we're looking in the southern direction. We haven't found her. If you notice, Hanuman never speaks about himself. He speaks about the great Ramachandra. He speaks about Ramachandra's friendship with Sugriva. And he says, Angada is our leader. Amazing, amazing mood. He never puts himself in the front of the list. And then he says, now as we were searching for Sita Devi, we were all so tired, exhausted, thirsty. And we happened to come upon this cave. And we wanted to see what's here. But when we saw birds flying out and they were drenched in water, we knew, okay, there's some water. And I was the one who told all of them, let's go and enter this cave. So our task of searching for Sita Devi is quite expedient. But we've gone into this cavity. We don't know how to get out of this. Now that our hunger and all that has been satisfied by your hospitality, we want to go back to our mission. We don't want to rest until we find Sita Devi. So Swayam Prabha said to them, oh, great Vanaras, I'm very honored that I got to do a little part of service in your great mission. Now, you don't need to be worried. Uh, by my uh, by my mystic potency, I will get you out of this cave. So Hanuman said, "Oh, that's great! You're such an amazing lady. We have a time-bound mission by Sugriva, so we need to get out, but we don't know how to get out of this cave. Please help us." Then she said, "Okay, all of you can only leave this cavity or cave with your eyes closed." So she said to all the monkeys, "Close your eyes." So they very tightly closed their eyes. They were wondering what will happen next. They were holding each other's hands tightly. And then she said, "Open your eyes." And suddenly the monkeys found themselves outside the cave at the foot of the Vindhya mountains. And they suddenly were freed from that cave. So, so that's where chapter 52 ends. I'm going to pause and see if there's any discussion, comments. I was mostly narrating a story, so let's see.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It's Kirti here.
Yes, Kirti.
Is there any significance of this ascetic lady Swayamprabha in the sense, other than the story itself? Does she represent any?
Well, the title of today's talk was The Mysterious Cave, so it is still a mystery. I mean, different people say certain things, but I haven't come across a very convincing or something that explains. I mean, some people say certain things, but I'm not. I don't know. Is one way. Another is I haven't found something convincing. If any one of you in your reading or research have found it, please definitely. Shamkun's here, Harisham's here. If you know, please speak, or anyone else.
Not that I know of, Prabhu.
So that still remains a mystery then, and we'll wait for that mystery to be solved. But there are good lessons that Swayam Prabha is in the middle of such opulence and not disturbed by it. So one might say, what? She has a better problem. She's in the middle of opulence. Then the opposite is also true. To be sitting in the middle of nothing and still not being disturbed by it is the other opulence, if you will. And either way, there is a good lesson.
And this ascetic lady Swayamprabha, unlike Kundu, she was not angry when Hanumanji and his troops intruded into her space and supposedly disturbed her.
Because she didn't have this sense of this is mine. She says, I'm just a caretaker. And of course, the monkeys were also very well, very courteous to her and very humbly approached her. But she doesn't feel a sense of propriety like Dhenukasura, that is in the entire forest of tala fruits. And he said, this is mine, this is only for me. She knows that she has so much around her that when others take, her opulence doesn't reduce or diminish.
The monkeys also did not, they took her permission before indulging themselves in the fruits and the honey and whatever that is. They did not, as soon as they saw it, they did not go for it.
Because they saw the saintly lady, yes. But the same monkeys, after finding Sita, they completely destroyed Dadimukhi's garden. We'll come to that soon. The
Yes,
Dadimu
sir.
is another monkey. They don't ask him any permission. They just completely decimate his forest out of the joy and thrill, eat fruits, throw the pit here and there, break the trees. They completely destroy it.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you. Nice to see all of you. We'll meet again next week and continue from here on. We are slowly inching towards the southern shore, the southern shore, where of course we'll hear of Sampati and soon Sundarakanda. I hope you're also feeling the excitement that I'm feeling. Maybe more. I shouldn't say what I'm feeling. Perhaps you have more, but that there is excitement about Sundarakanda. Hare Krishna. Take care. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Sitaram.